Hi, it's Stu here from 3B, and this is our third video on ultra short throw projectors. And today we're going to look at the possibilities of using an ultra short throw projector as a permanent replacement for your TV and how practical really that is. So let's go sort it out, shall we? So here we are once again, video number 3, and this time we're looking at the possibility of whether an ultra short throw projector can really replace your existing TV. Now, I can understand the logic behind that, why anyone would want to use an ultra short throw projector as a means of replacing the TV. There are a number of benefits. One, ultra short throw projectors can be very close to the surface that it's projecting on. They can project very large sizes if they're set up correctly, which we can go back to one of my previous videos on that. And then there's the sort of cost, really. If you look at the cost of an ultra short throw projector, which, they're not cheap, admittedly, but then you can do the comparative cost of what that would, if you wanted a TV in a similar size, that's when you're talking of a real significant difference. It's thousands of pounds in many regards. But there are things to consider as well when thinking of replacing an ultra short throw, using an ultra short throw projector as a replacement for your TV. Now, the first thing, and I've had a couple of my subscribers, thankfully, sort of mention this to me, and it is a consideration, and that's basically the amount of overall brightness, the nits and so on that you would get from your TV would always be much brighter than what you would ever get from a projector, from an ultra short throw projector, or any projector for that matter. The basic reason is that the light from a TV is being emitted directly from it, rather than, say, from a projector. It's a reflective light. So the light is bouncing off that screen onto you. So that goes back onto that whole thing that I keep going on about is ambient light, reflective screens, why they're so important. So there are those things to consider. So it's basically expectation. Will you get the same level of brightness of what you get from your TV? The short answer is no, you won't. Will you notice it when you're watching a movie in 120 inches or more? No, not really. I've watched TV during the daylight. I've watched films during the daylight. I've watched films at night. Most of us watch TV at night. And I've in darkness, in daylight, yeah, you can notice it. Does it detract from what you're watching? No, it doesn't, because you're enjoying that whole experience of being in that sort of movie-like experience. So I think for me personally, and I think my tastes are very similar to many of you out there, that yeah. You will notice a difference, that it's not as bright, and when you go from the ultra short throw to the TV, you will notice that the TV is quite bright, but neither sort of detracts from one another. You don't think the TV's burning your eyes out when you're watching the TV, and then when you're watching the ultra short throw projector, you don't look at that and watch that and think, this is nowhere near bright enough. I've never once thought either of those things when watching either the projector or the TV. The only difference is when I've been watching the projector for a long time and then I move to the TV. So that's the real sort of key thing to consider. Don't get hung up on the brightness, because trust me, if you invest in an ambient light reflective screen and you set it up how I sort of said in the previous videos, how to sort of set it up and things to consider in terms of having it further away for a larger picture, because you will have to have it a distance away, even though they're designed to be quite close to the wall. Yeah, so there's just a huge number of upsides as opposed to that very small, very insignificant, in my opinion, in terms of the downside. Can you replace your TV with an ultra short throw projector? That's the crux of it. Yes, if your expectations are right around brightness and so on, you invest in a high quality ambient light reflective screen, you set it up correctly where you don't have to keep setting it up constantly. That's another thing to consider. Have it in a place where it's going to stay and live. And I've touched upon this before, but these things can be quite heavy and bulky. And once they're in place, they're a bit fiddly sometimes, depending on the OS that's running. So you don't want to keep setting it up each time you want to use it. You want to use it immediately. And talking of making it easy to use, you also have to consider the rest of the family. It's all well and good you being knowing how to use it all, but you don't want 1,000,001 remote controls, one for the projector, one for your satellite, one for your AVR, one for this, one for that. And this is where I recommend sort of one of those all-in-one remote control things. I've got this one from Logitech. I've had it for a couple of years, 2-3 years now, and it's a lifesaver. Not just for me, but for anyone else that decides to sort of ingratiate themselves to me. It just saves up so much time just by pressing, a simple option on the menu, and then it turns everything on that needs to be turned on for that thing. That's the thing you have to consider, whether it's the other people that'll be using it, and especially kids, because you don't want them dicking around with all the options and screwing things up. So if you make it as easy as possible, you're going to save yourself an awful lot of heartache down the road. So ambient light reflective screen, a must. I cannot stress that enough. Permanent fixtures for the screen and the projector itself, so it's not moved around, so you're not having to recalibrate it and reset it all the time. And then the third one is making sure it's easy for everyone else to use. So those are the things to consider. I hope this has been helpful. The next video that we're going to do is what are we going to do? Do's and don'ts, really. So what you should do and what you shouldn't do when buying your ultra short throw projector. And really, if you've watched the last 3 videos, you should pretty much be aware of those anyway. So I hope this video has been helpful. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's your opinion. It's fine. It's fine. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell, because that's super important. And I'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching, and take very good care. Bye-bye.